Hello, my friends. The return of Uncle Swampass. I know it's been a while. Can't let all the stories come out at once. And I kind of, had a bunch all in a row there, so I thought maybe I'd spread them out over a little bit. And also give my time to think about some of the other crazier things that happened in my life. This is a good one. I'm going to leave out this person's name because their family's quite prominent in the city, and I think whatever happened that night afterwards, her life, I don't know if it was ruined, but it was definitely changed by the incident on Argyle Street. So in 1989, after I came back from Victoria, I started working. I didn't go back to high school. I started working for Modern Building Cleaning. And my friends John Robinson, rest in peace, John, miss you. Mark Wall and I decided we were going to get house, rent a house together, kind of thing. So we had started looking for houses. I lived on Victoria Street at my dad's place at the time. I think Mark and John were up in Skyline Acres at that point. I think, can't remember exactly. But I didn't find the place. Mark actually found this place on Argyle Street, which was actually mobile data's turned off. What the heck? Can't send message. Oh, I don't know. Sorry. Yeah. It's just something that came up on my screen. I thought the video had stopped recording. Anyways, so we secured this place on Argyle Street. Mark, John, and I moved in there, and all was good. One night, Nick Oliver, who lived on Northumberland, which was like just a block away. Like my dad's place, Nick's place, and where we were living were all right in this little area. And Nick had a party that night. And I went to Nick's party with some friends. I think Grant was there. And I don't exactly remember how my brother Gordy ended up at my place, or our place, on Argyle Street, but he was there. So I was at this party at Nick's house, and I can't recall who it was who came and told me that this young lady had shown up the house and was looking for me. Again, I won't mention this young lady's name. Those who were involved, they know who this is. I didn't even know this girl. Like I mean, I recognized the last name because it was a family name in the city that's quite well known. Like I said, but I'd never met this person before in my life, and they'd showed up at the house, and I'd been told had caused a bit of an altercation outside, and then when had come inside, had actually punched Gordy in the face. He was sleeping, passed out on the couch, and apparently, yeah, whatever reason, she punched him in the face. She didn't know who Gordy was. And so I left Nick's house and made my way to my place and found this young lady in an intoxicated state. I don't know if she was drunk or on drugs. I think on drugs was probably leaning towards that was likely the case. She wanted to sleep with me. I think I was 18 at the time, and I'm not too sure, but she might have been 14 or 15. And she was looking for me, and I was not having any of it. You could ask anybody who was part of this, Mark, Grant. Gordy was, I think, still passed out, but she wouldn't leave. And I didn't know what to do. So what I did was, quick thinking. The bathroom that we had in this old house on Argyle Street had one of those little skeleton keys that could lock from the inside or the outside. So I tricked her into going into the bathroom, and I locked her in the bathroom. And she didn't like that. And I then went to the phone book, looked up the family's last name in the phone book. I mean, this was like 1:32 in the morning, I think it was, and stab in the dark because I didn't know what her father's name was. Only Mr. Blank would have been my only guess, kind of thing. And I managed to get the right number. I woke up her father and told him that his daughter had shown up at our house unannounced. I didn't know who she was. I believed that she was intoxicated with something, and could you please come get your daughter? Because I don't know what to do here. So I can't remember if her dad showed up first or the police, Fredericton police, and it was actually Steve Horseman that showed up. I know Steve became a politician later on. People aren't that much of a Steve Horseman fan. None of my business. I wasn't here in the time that he was in government. I knew Steve Horseman from when I was really, really young. The very first metal festival that I put on in 1988, I had to hire. I used the Roxy's on the exhibition grounds. I don't know what it's called now, Capitol Exhibit Center or whatever it is. But that's where I had this festival, and having it there, I had to hire a police officer, a city police officer, for the night to watch, just make sure things didn't go bad. And Steve Horseman was the officer that they sent, and he was great. He was really nice, and I think he understood that I was one of the good kids. Like I wasn't getting into shit. I wasn't ever arrested. Yeah, I didn't do really too many bad things as a kid to get involved with the police. And he was really cool. So he showed up at the house, and again, I can't remember if her father showed up first or if Horseman showed up first. But when I let her out of the bathroom, like whoever was there, whatever happened, when Horseman kind of tried to take control of the situation, she fucking lost it. And she called him like I had never heard even an older person say this to a police officer before. Like every horrible fucking word in that swear book you could use, she was just throwing at Horseman. And I think we were all a bit stunned by her tirade. And why Steve Horseman had showed up was before she had entered the house. I guess she'd been on Argyle Street, like screaming her guts out. So one of the other neighbors had called the police. And what happened was when her father showed up, Horseman decided the best thing would be to do is to hand her over to the father, put her in the car, and get her the fuck out of here. So we saw this person, her father, put her in the car. I think I might have just said the name. I'll have to go back and see. But put her in the car, and Miss Constable Horseman and my roommates and I, we watched them drive down Argyle Street towards Northumberland Street. And as her father's car got to the stop sign at the end of Northumberland, excuse me, the passenger door opened, and this girl, jumped out and took off. John and I and Horseman all took off running after her, and I managed to catch her running down someone's driveway. And I'd never done this before in my life, I never chased anybody down like that. But basically did like a flying tackle around her waist and brought her down on the driveway. And I was alone with her before John was coming down the driveway when I was tackling her. And when I rolled over, she bit into my arm, and like she was like bit into my arm. And so when John got there, he started to try and pull her off of me, and she was still attached to my arm. And I'm sorry for this. I have never hit a woman again in my life. I didn't want to do this, but she was ripping my arm apart. So I clocked her in the head, closed fist, in the side of her head about 3 or 4 times before she let go of my arm. Horseman showed up and managed to grab her, and we got her back down. And I can't remember if Steve took her or her father took her. I think her father took her. And that was pretty much the end of that episode. Except for the next day, I got a phone call from her father asking if he could come talk to me. And this was really fucking weird. Because, again, I was like 17, 18-year-old kid. And her father showed up. And I think we were actually at my dad's place. And I remember sitting on the back steps with him talking about what had happened that night before. And he asked me, an 18-year-old kid. Like, what do you think I should do with my daughter? Like, I don't know. Get her some help. I guess he said that they had tried that, and yeah, and I don't know even know what happened after that. I know many many years later, Grant ran into her at a local drinking establishment, and I can't remember if he brought me up or she did, but Grant had told her that I wasn't doing well with my arthritis having happened and all that, and I think not. This is paraphrasing, but I think she said, "Good. I hope he fucking rots." So I made a lifelong enemy that night out of a girl, a very young girl, who showed up at my place, whacked out on drugs. And yeah, like when Steve showed up, like I explained to him, like, man, like nothing. We have given this girl nothing. She showed up here completely ripped on whatever she was on, and it was not good. So yeah, that was the incident on Argyle Street, and a very very crazy crazy night. Couldn't believe it happened to me, an 18-year-old kid. So strange. But yeah, that's the incident on Argyle Street. I gotta go back and make sure that because I think I might have dropped the name by accident once there, so I may have to even do this video again. I don't know. We'll see.